Since the age of 15, I started doing community work. I started really advocating for young people's rights and also trying to find out where my community and where I belonged in this society. I was born in Sudan. My parents are from Ethiopia, and I came here with an uncle when I was about 5 years old. When I reflect on what kind of pushed me to do community work, where most of it is done for free, I was trying to understand where I belong in this society, because you don't see a reflection of yourself when you look at the TV screen. You don't see a reflection of yourself when you listen to the radio. Growing up, I was always trying to understand, who am I, where do I belong? And so I've always found it difficult. I still am finding it difficult to get an understanding of where do I really belong in this country. And there's been a few issues like throughout my life which have always pushed me to question that even more. Like the first time I did community work was because I was beaten up by a police officer, and at the time I was only 15. It was for no apparent reason. There was an incident that happened where young Africans were involved, and he basically beat me up because he was frustrated that he couldn't get no one. So the first person he saw, he just grabbed and said, I'm going to get this one. Hopefully he'll lead me to the rest. That's the kind of mentality that the police station had back then. That's my first real experience of racism and prejudice in Australia. Racism it's not in your face. It's something that's always covered up, and it's always behind doors. Like, there's been all these different ethnic minorities that have been here for yonks as well. How come they don't have the same opportunities? I'm still struggling to understand how that works. How can you live in a country in which almost the majority of people come from a background of that don't speak English, and not have that reflected in the media, and not have that reflected in government? For me personally, I haven't discovered what Australian means. They tell you you're Australian as long as you act like an Anglo-Australian. That's the definition I got from primary school and high school. But then when I speak to a lot of Italian and Greek families that have been here for generations, they tell you this is our country. They've developed that sense of belonging. I want to develop that, but for some reason I can't. I can't accept not being accepted for who I am. I think for most young people, there is that huge question mark. What does it mean to be Australian? Do I really belong here? You have all the media just basically labeling Africans as uneducated troublemakers. And the sad thing is, a lot of families that come here are really educated, and some of them have extraordinary stories. To go through that and kind of survive, and then come here, they're made to feel subhuman just because they can't speak the language or they can't understand some of the things. People look at them like they're stupid, like they don't know anything. I think there's kind of two deaths with a refugee. The first death is when you leave your country, and then the second death is when you come to a country. You can live in peace, but you have no respect. You're not accepted. That's the second death. I don't know if that's more painful than the first.